More free agents off the board, but the Cubs are not involved. We get into what's next for the Northsiders and show you what the current lineup would be if the season started today. Watch out. Here we go.
Are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Cubs alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Pleased to be with you for a Tuesday episode, and thanks for making us your first listen every day. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Well, another day in the MLB offseason, and another day in which the Cubs don't add. Of course, we're going to take certain angles on this and try to reflect and commiserate and emote and do everything we can with Cubs fans as we're passionate fans ourselves. But Sam, 3 players are now off the board, 2 of which were in of particular interest with the Cubs and have been linked to these players just within the last week. First, you have Sean Murphy in a big 3-way trade, A's, Braves, and Brewers. Chris Bassett to the Blue Jays and Christian Vasquez to the Twins. Where would you like to start? And excited to get your thoughts on the moves despite the Cubs' inactivity.
First, I'd like to start by saying that I'll speak for you on this, are aware that sometimes our takes are going to be reactionary, i.e. yesterday's episode, and that in 10 minutes, Jed Hoyer could sign Dansby Swanson and we could retract those statements. But the purpose of a daily podcast is we must react to the news that we see. If we take the large, big picture and just say, oh, well, let's give it time, we don't have any content to produce with. Because I got a lot of messages like, hey, don't you think that you're being a little harsh? There's 2 guys available. I'll be the first one and you'll be the second one to give Jed his flowers if he gets this done. Just want to make that point. Matt, before we break down these deals, or maybe we won't, it's up to you. I'd like to ask you a question.
All right.
If the Cubs end up having the offseason that they are on path to have, which is nothing, and really not improving their team whatsoever, who do you think is more to blame, Jed Hoyer or Tom Ricketts? And I'm putting you on the spot. I'm aware of that.
Well, last week at this time, we did an episode, and then the news changed and we did a new episode, right?
Yes.
And one of the points of news that came out on that Monday evening leaked out was, hey, Tom Ricketts has given Jed Hoyer the green light.
Yeah.
And all the options of funds and finances and the bags of money, it's all available.
Right.
So
and
given that leak, I would say Jed Hoyer.
Okay, so I disagree.
So that's a primary reason for me.
Yeah.
And I think that ultimately it is Jed making the baseball decisions.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't know the minutia of them in the room, but I have to believe that Tom Ricketts would sign off on an elite baseball player to help improve the team.
Okay. Follow-up question. Fine opinion. Why would Jed Hoyer, the odds of him being here 7, 8, 9 years from now are tiny, right? They just are.
Yeah, they are.
If the Cubs are great, he'll probably get a different job and get paid more. If the Cubs stink, he'll probably be fired. So why would Jed Hoyer be the one holding up a Swanson or Correa deal? Follow-up question.
He wouldn't be. I think the market is holding it up right now, and their decision-making would be. But it does seem like Jed Hoyer is hesitant to dole out a long-term deal.
But I think that's
Ricketts. For what reasons, I don't know. Because the AAV comes down if you increase the years.
I think that's Ricketts, though. Why? That's my question. You just answered the question. Why would Jed Hoyer be hesitant to give a long-term deal if he probably won't be here the back half of the deal? It makes no sense. His job is to win as soon as he possibly could and have some of these farm guys come up and be good. And he's always talked about that next window. That next window is probably hopefully was going to start this year, but it was going to be about a 4 or 5 year window. The last 4 or 5 year window doesn't matter. Theo Epstein just wrote the blueprint for that. The Cubs won. They had a little bit of a window, and then he got that H out. So I guess my point is I don't understand what the Cubs are doing. Everyone's like, well, fire Jed or whatever. I can't imagine Jed Hoyer doesn't want these guys at market price. I just can't imagine that. It's got to be coming from some sort of business op saying, hey, we don't want to do an 11-year deal or whatnot, and Jed will be the fall guy for that. It just makes no baseball sense. There's nobody available in this upcoming free agent class that it's so weak with position players. Why wouldn't you just pounce? I don't understand why they weren't the first ones to pounce. The point I'm trying to make is I think there's something going on. If this doesn't get done, there's something going on that we just don't know. That's all. That's the point I'm trying to make. It can't be what you're saying, with all due respect. It can't be, oh, Jed's just hesitant to give out a long-term deal. You know how bad that makes him look?
Right. Well, there's something in the baseball ops that, I guess my instinct is to say it's in the baseball part of it, but so you're saying that Tom Ricketts is scared of a 10+ year deal?
I'm saying that there is something going on that is not straight Jed Hoyer saying that deal doesn't make sense for our baseball team. There's something beyond that, whether it's Ricketts, whether it's Kenny, whether it's business, whether they don't have as much money as they say. I don't know what it is, but if they don't make that deal, there's something going on. I'll do a hypothesis. If they don't make that deal, then there is something going on in that organization that we don't know about.
Well, that's a shame. That's a shame that we don't know.
It's ridiculous.
It's got to be a fallacy that they don't have money. I'd like to eliminate that option.
Okay,
because that's an embarrassment.
Well, obviously they have money. I'm saying that Ricketts is not wanting to spend it, is what I'm trying to say.
And what instead?
I don't know, but I'll repeat it one more time. We can move on. There is no way Jed Hoyer is not going to sign a shortstop this season because he's the one that is apprehensive about the length of the deal. There's no way. There is no way. He is gone above and beyond to let the fans know that that's the goal. There's no way he's going to come back with his tail between his legs. And he was the one that was a failure. In 3 years, he'll be an assistant for the Padres.
So do you think something changed within the last 7 days, or this was the plan, or this was the outlook all along, or do you care to hypothesize about that?
I don't. I don't know. All I'm saying is if the Cubs do not land one of these two shortstops, I believe, it's just my opinion, that it is above Jed Hoyer.
Wow.
That is what I believe.
All right. Well, thanks for putting that out there. I'd like to just stay on this then for a minute or two.
If they do, maybe you're right. Maybe they're just really playing the market. But again, I ask you, let's say they overpay for Dansby Swanson. Let's say they give him 8 years for $250. It's an overpay. What does that matter for Jed Hoyer?
I don't see why it would.
What does that matter? They'll be good the next couple of years. They'll be decent. We'll see what guys he brings up. They'll still have financial flexibility. That becomes a problem in 2028, 29, and 30.
Right.
That's a Ricketts issue. That's an ownership issue. That's not a Jed Hoyer issue right now. It's not like it's not the NBA where it cripples you from making moves because you're over the luxury and this. There's no way.
Right.
There's no way, Matt.
Well, in the way that you see spending by other franchises, if you want to play the scoreboard, then that's even more ammunition to claim to make a Ricketts claim.
And let's segue now into the deals that were done today. So I'm fine with not trading for Sean Murphy. That they got back a ton for that. What I don't understand is why we weren't in with the Brewers part of it. They got William Contreras and two really nice relievers or two nice pitchers for their number 5 overall prospect. I thought we had all this prospect capital. That's exactly the type of deal you want to make. Fine. And then the Cubs made it very obvious that Christian Vasquez was a priority this year. He signs at 3 for $30. You thought that was a tad high. if they're not in the long-term deals, then what are you looking to do? 3 for 30 is a short deal, and it's $10 million a year.
Yeah, anything under 5 years, they should be firmly in on, right?
And so people on Twitter were like, "Hey, I think they're just going to trade for a shortstop and a catcher, but to do so, they might have to get rid of Horner." Well, then what is that accomplishing? Then
wait a second. I'm sorry. What?
You're just making lateral steps.
Wait, I've been away from the internet for a few hours. Who in their right mind would suggest trading Nico Horner?
The easy thing to do is to just get the guy that is what? A free, all caps, FREE agent.
Right.
It just makes no logical sense. For people that don't know me, which is all of you,
we've known you since July 5th. If they've been listening.
Have a real problem with things that don't make sense. Like just logistics, like things that are logical. Like, for example, just to use a quick analogy, like in the World Cup, when like there'll be like a foul that's given a yellow card, and then 2 seconds later there's a way worse foul that's not, and it's all arbitrary, and I just like scream out like, what am I watching? Like, I just like things to add up.
Right.
This doesn't add up. If the Cubs were terrified of making a long-term deal, then why weren't they in on Senga? Why weren't they in on Bassett? Why weren't they in on Vasquez? And sure, I know what everyone's going to say. Maybe they were.
They got beat.
Yeah, they got beat 3 times?
Yeah. Possibly.
How do you get beat on a 3 for 30 deal in Minnesota? You're telling me you'd rather go to Minnesota for 3 for 30? Cubs couldn't do 3 for 35? I mean,
Christian Vasquez would rather play there.
Well, then there's something fundamentally wrong.
Well, I don't know. It's in the presentation or the pitch or I don't know what's happening.
I'll close out by saying I still firmly believe Dansby Swanson's going to be a Cub. There's no way they screw this up.
Okay, well.
But by the way, they still got, it's not like they get Dansby Swanson and I'm popping champagne for a division title. There's other holes here.
Right.
I thought by now we'd be on the relievers, a sneaky third base pick. I'm fine with the pitching, but I'm only fine with the pitching if we got guys up the middle. I feel like a broken record. I'm talking too much.
Well, let's keep going. Let's go on the other side here and bring up some of those possibilities and also break down some of these players' deals that occurred today. We'll do that coming up next. Today's episode is brought to you by Simply Safe. Here at Locked On, we believe home should be where you and your family feel safest, especially over the holidays. This season, give yourself and your family the gift of peace and protection with the #1 rated home security system, Simply Safe. And right now, Simply Safe is offering Locked On listeners 40% off a new security system. Simply Safe is whole home security with advanced sensors for every room, window, and door, HD security cameras for inside and out, smarter ways to detect motion that alert you only when a threat is real, even hazard sensors that detect fires, floods, and other threats to your home. Don't miss your chance to save big on Locked On's favorite security system. Get 40% off any new system at simplysafe.com/LockedOnMLB today. That's simplysafe.com/LockedOnMLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We are recording just after the 9 p.m. hour here on a Monday evening, Central Standard Time. We'll see if any news breaks this evening or tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning. What's today? Monday? So Tuesday morning.
Today's Monday night, man.
But some news did break today across MLB, and we did bring up the Murphy trade already. Christian Vasquez, 3 years, 30 M's. How about the Chris Bassett trade signing, Sam, with the Blue Jays of Toronto, 3 years for 63. I did think he would maybe get another year or two, but the Jays lock him in at a short term deal with a higher AAV. A draft pick was attached to him. But, 3 players that you heard about with the Northsiders that went a different way. My thing with the Vasquez deal kind of thinking about it more now is they're talking about defensive-minded catchers, right? But here was a person that also has an offensive profile. Not to say that he's a big bat, but he would add to your potential run production. And so now he's off the table, and now you really look at excluding maybe some Omar Narvaez, all defensive-minded people. So you would have Yan Gomes defensive-minded, plus the other catcher defensive-minded. Again, how much are you getting offensively from that position in the show? Probably not much, but to have two guys who are firmly defensive is certainly something to look at. And I did want to look at this comment from Steve from Winter Haven, Florida, Sam. He said there needs to be an investigation by MLB. When and how did the Pittsburgh front office infiltrate the Cubs front office? And that's so true. Last night on the show, we said Chicago Rays, Chicago Pirates, Chicago Nationals. If this trend keeps up, where especially if it's Tom Ricketts, Sam, your argument from the opener of the show, then they are operating in that sort of form and fashion, which would be unfortunate.
And oh, by the way, Matt,
yeah,
if they are operating in that fashion, they're not doing it well, because a team that's operating in that fashion, an actual small market team, the Milwaukee Brewers, executed the best trade of the offseason today by giving up one measly prospect for three really, really solid pieces. One of them going to be, wait for it, a catcher that will be by far profiles to be their best offensive player. So not only right now are you not acting like a good big market team, but you're the small market team. Hey, let's make small moves. Let's get $1.25 on the dollar type moves. No, your division rival just did that. Got their best hitter for nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Am I wrong?
No, that was a great deal for Milwaukee.
Of course it is. They're smart.
And,
just get me Dansby. I'll shut up.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, as you pointed out, even then they need some other threats. I don't know where they're going to get it from.
But at least even then, we got something to be excited about going into the season.
Absolutely.
Something.
And if you get Swanson and you get Mancini, you bring back Drew Smyly, maybe you get a reliever or two. You're kind of seeing an offseason.
I don't even think Mancini and Smyly are necessary. I think Swanson and then third base, move Wisdom over to first base to be that platoon it would make the most baseball sense. I want to watch Matt Mervis play as much as possible, see what we have here. But platooning him with a righty that's not Jose Abreu.
You just cut out a second.
Am I back?
No. Oh, yes, you are back.
Okay. That's weird. I got nothing open here. We good?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh. All right. Do you think so, or I am?
You are. There was some static, and then
Okay.
there was nothing, but now you're good.
Okay. Going at first base, for Mervis. It's such a marginal improvement if it's not a stud like Jose Abreu. I'd rather just see what we have in Mervis. Third base is the option. I want the infield all secure.
Okay, yeah, and I've been thinking more about Justin Turner, and he's 75
God
years old.
forbid.
And
on this team he'd be Mike Schmidt.
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean that's the route they want to go in terms of the infield after Swanson. That's fine. I know Mancini's been tossed around, and I could give you some catching names. I don't know what purpose that would serve. I really think we should get into the current lineup as it's constructed.
Yeah, I know you want to do that. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so we'll do that on the other side. We also potentially have a graphic for the viewers at home, and we'll do that next. Today's episode is also brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every pro and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer and esports. We've got it all at betonline.net. Sam, so right now, what would you say if you had to put odds on Swanson? Would you be able to attach something to those?
Yeah, probably like plus 150.
We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. Bet online, where the game starts. So we start right here. Considering the current Cubs lineup, if the season began Tuesday, what would the lineup be on the north side? So I have it for you right here. I also have, again, this is just the offensive side of the baseball.
Sure.
So I have the lineup plus the bench. Okay, so we're going to flash it on the screen right there. It's a little small. So
No,
I
I
have to
see it
take your
beautifully.
magnifying. Okay.
Is
So
this your projected order? Can I nitpick at this, or is it just this is what they have here?
So this is from the roster resource, the Fangraphs tool.
Okay, yeah, because Horner's not going to lead off, but what does that matter?
Right. So Horner at short, Suzuki in right, Happ in left, Bellinger in center, Morel at third, Mervis DH, Gomes catching, Rivas at first, and Madrigal
No, come
at
on.
second.
That Rivas isn't going to be on the opening day starting lineup. I mean, come on.
Well, he would be if the season started today.
No, I don't think that's true. I think if the season started today, Mervis would be playing first base. Who do you have at third base? Morel? I think Morel would probably Wisdom would be DHing or Morel, that combination. Rivas would not be in the lineup.
Yeah, I would hope so. So that leads to the bench: Wisdom, Higgins, Velazquez, and McKinstry.
Yeah,
So
this
that's your
team
13
stinks.
offensive players. That's your 13 offensive players.
This team's not good. But if you add, let me tell you, you add Dansby Swanson to it, and you get rid of Madrigal, and then you add a legit third base. You take Rivas out, Morel becomes a bench player, and let's just say hypothetically, take this lineup and substitute Justin Turner in for Morel, sub Mervis in for Rivas, okay?
Right.
Sub Dansby Swanson in for Madrigal, although obviously he plays short, Horner plays second, and then put Wisdom at DH.
Yeah.
That's a good offensive club.
Yeah, that's something to tune in for.
And maybe on God's grace of earth, we could get a catcher too.
Yeah.
My point is,
we'll see about that.
My point is, Cubs lineup right now, to your point, awful. 73 to 75 wins. You make 3 really obvious and simple moves, or 2, it jumps up by like 8 or 9 wins.
That's so many too.
Let's put Dansby Swanson in the lineup for 1 second. Just make a quick lineup, you and I, together, right off the top of our heads. Okay. Right off the top of our heads. I have no idea who would lead off.
Probably Happ.
Let's say it's Ian Happ. I agree with you, Matthew.
Okay.
Number two, let's put Swanson 2.
Yeah.
Is that fair? So you tell me when I'm wrong. Okay.
I think Swanson 2 or 3. Yeah, so 2 is fine.
Suzuki 3.
Right.
Let's put Horner 4. You know, I like Horner in the middle.
You
of the
like
lineup.
him at that spot.
I don't care that he doesn't hit homers. He puts the ball in play when it matters. Okay. 4, Horner. 5, Mervis.
Right.
Okay. Or have I said Suzuki yet?
Yeah, we did. He's hitting third.
Oh, Suzuki's third?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I confused myself. Happ, Swanson, Suzuki, Horner, Mervis.
Okay.
You usually don't like to go back to back. So let's say you back to back lefties. So we'll put Bellinger 7. So that 6 hole could be filled with, I don't know, a third baseman.
Yeah, okay. Justin Turner, right there. That lineup is good. Right.
It is.
Right. Yeah, no, it's definitely formidable.
Sure, they're obviously missing loads of power, okay? You know, maybe Wisdom sneaks into the 8 spot. I mean, we know at this rate Gomes is hitting 9. Right. Hide Wisdom in the 8 hole, see if you can get 28 to 30 from him as currently constructed. But Bellinger, Swanson, Turner, Horner, Suzuki. Those 5 guys are fine. Mervis.
Yeah, let's push out that lineup that we just constructed tonight or tomorrow, because I think that would
Well, there's no
put it in
point
perspective.
because we might not have any of them. I mean, we could
Well,
be
but it's a conversation piece.
a Narciso Crook could be hitting third.
No, he went to Boston.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. Well, maybe Matt Merton could be in there somewhere.
And look, I understand this is a reactionary show. It's just
That's part of the biz.
I'm surprised we're here. You know, look at the Cleveland Guardians lineup from last year. It's not the sexiest thing in the world, but when you could pitch, defend, and run bases, you win division title.
Yeah, it's the plan. The pitching and defense plan could work, but you need to make some addition. Cody Bellinger is not going to hit cleanup, dog. You're not going to hit him cleanup. He hit 155 last year. Okay, but you know what I'm not to pick on the new guy, but you could see the lineup here, folks. We read it off. I mean, come on, it's absurd. If this is all a Tom Ricketts thing, then he should be ashamed of himself. And fans should not go to games if this is the lineup. Let's start that train now.
Well, no, I already said that if I don't care if they sign I don't care if they sign Justin Turner, Christian Vasquez. If they don't sign one of these shortstops, I will not attend a game this season.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty much it.
I gave them their time. And by the way, another quick point. 2 separate things, guys. Don't start coming back now with, and they gave up the core. No, that was a home run. That was a great job by Jed Hoyer and Tom Ricketts on doing that. Yeah. I didn't look at that as a money saver. I thought that was our fastest path to compete. But in doing so, I thought this offseason they would take – listen, last offseason they signed Suzuki and Stroman.
Yeah, why'd you do that?
We're not even there yet.
Yeah.
What did they spend in total on those guys? $175 million?
Yeah, about that.
And this offseason so far, they've spent 85.
Yeah, it was 68 plus 17. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great point.
This was supposed to be at least a parallel of offseason. We're hundreds of millions of dollars away from that.
Right.
Somebody pick up the phone.
Oh, your mic went out again.
Somebody pick up the phone.
We're delayed here. Okay, so we're sounding like robots here. So we're gonna. So the translation was someone pick up the phone. I don't know if people heard that or if it's just on my end, but we got some Futurama stuff going on here. So we are towards the finish line anyway. Another action-packed episode, if I do say so myself, and if you're able to read the tone of these episodes, let me just say this. We're going to keep at this.
We call it like it is.
We're going to call it like it is. And we'll read and react. And that's part of doing this great program. Be sure to stay with us on video and audio. Subscribe on YouTube for all Locked On Cubs goodness. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your pods. And remember, you can drop us a text, 312-834-4634. Thanks for making Locked On Cubs your first listen every day. Now make your second the Locked On Sports Today podcast. Locked On Sports Today is our 22-minute recap of the previous night in sports. It features local experts on each of the big stories, as well as the take of the day from one of the Locked On hosts. He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy, and this is Locked On Cubs.